Hi guys. I don't know if anybody can hear that, but my 8-year-old daughter is refusing to go upstairs to have a bath, and she just shouted at the top of her voice, "But my mini doesn't even stink." Children. Right. Hi Joe. So let us know when you have joined us. This is really annoying. Like, if I put my glasses on, then you can see my ring light. If I take my glasses off, my eyes really hurt. My hands really hurt? That's weird. Oh, Sarah, I know. Honestly, the stuff they come out with. Then when she got to the top, she was like, "You can come and smell it if you want." They do say it as it is. They absolutely do. Hi, Joe. You just need to hit join, unless you've asked to join and I've missed it. Sunglasses. Why didn't I think of that? Sonia, that's a genius idea. I always get off these Insta Lives with a bit of a headache, and I think it's because I'm staring at a screen for so long, and I would normally wear my glasses. Sorry, I'm just trying to get Joe to join. Hi, Liz. Here we go. Here she is. I think she's just coming through now. Hello. How are you, my love?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am so well. So everybody, this is the lovely... You're right if I call you Joe, or is it Joanna?
Yeah, no, Joe's
Joe.
fine. Joe's fine.
So lovely to see you again. Because it wasn't... I was looking at our last chat, which
Last
was...
November.
Was it November? Oh my
Yeah, it was
God, it
last
seems
Lung
a
Cancer
year.
Awareness Month. Yeah, a
God, a
year ago.
whole year has gone by. Your hair's changed. My hair's changed.
Yeah.
And actually, so much has changed for you, but we'll get to that. We'll get to
Yeah.
that. We'll get to that exciting bit in a minute. I wondered whether we might be able to talk first off about why is it, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, why is it that Lung Cancer Awareness Month flies so much on the radar, under the radar, when it is such an aggressive disease and a widespread disease, right? I don't
Yeah.
understand it.
It's something that I struggle with, I really do. And I think the only thing I can kind of put it down to is sort of just the misconceptions surrounding lung cancer. I mean, we know that smoking is a massive risk factor, and we know that it contributes to lung cancer as well as 15 other cancers as well. Um, but obviously the demographic of lung cancer, we know that majority of patients are sort of over 70 lifelong smokers. That's the statistics we're being hit with on Google lung cancer. That's what we're hearing and that's what we're seeing. What we're not seeing is the 28% of people that have never smoked that have got lung cancer. So nearly a third of all lung cancer diagnoses a year have never smoked. And to be fair, I mean, it doesn't matter if you have smoked or
That's
you haven't
huge. That's a
smoked.
huge number, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, when 46
That's a
people
huge
a
number,
year.
and I don't think people
Mm.
know that.
No, that's it. So when 46,000 people a year are being diagnosed with lung cancer, a third of those have never smoked. So that's sort of a big thing. There's this big kind of misconception that lung cancer sort of, things that you cause it yourself. It's the first question I'm asked by everybody, doctors, nurses, anyone I meet. Oh, did you smoke then? As if I say yes, is that okay then? Does everyone
Yeah,
go, oh,
so true.
well, you're 34, you need the risk. So what if you die and leave your kids? We do, but smoking is, it's out there. We know, it's bad for our health. Everyone knows it. But, at the end of the day, there's an addiction. And we need to there needs to be a lot more in helping people get away from cigarettes for millions of health reasons, not just
Yeah,
for lung cancer.
absolutely. I feel like that's a whole nother
That's a whole,
chat,
yeah.
isn't it? So
Excuse
can
me.
we back up and just recap on your story a little bit for anybody that
Yeah,
doesn't know? So you were 34, weren't you, when you were
yeah.
diagnosed and it came completely out of the blue for you. Is that right?
Yeah. So I was pregnant with my first daughter, and I was really poorly. I was so ill. I lost 2 stone in weight when I was pregnant. I had this hoarse voice that I always have now, but this was one of the biggest things that happened when I was pregnant. I lost my voice. I had a cough that wouldn't go away. I had repeated chest infections. Over a period of 14 months, I had 12 rounds of antibiotics for chest infections. But obviously, being pregnant, they
Yeah.
couldn't do anything further. They couldn't do x-rays and things like that. And I felt awful. I kept going to the doctors, and I felt like such a hypochondriac. I kept thinking, oh my goodness, there's this woman who thinks being pregnant's an illness.
Yeah.
But it's, and I felt a nuisance, and I felt I kept being dismissed, and I knew in my heart that
Did you
something was
feel
wrong.
rough? Did you feel poorly with it?
Yeah, I felt
Yeah.
like I was dying, and
Did you? Yeah.
yeah, I felt really poorly, and it did play havoc with my mental health as well because I was thinking, oh my goodness, if I can't go, like at the time I didn't know obviously what it was. Everyone was just saying, oh, it's because you're pregnant, you'll run down, baby's getting all the nutrients. I was thinking, oh my goodness, if I can't cope with pregnancy, how am I going to cope being a mum? I was
Yeah.
thinking,
Yeah.
oh gosh, I'm going to be on those mums that you see on the news, like chuck stuff under a train. Like it was a really, really awful time. Um, and
Mm.
then when sort of Freya did come along, and I started to feel a bit better. I don't know whether it was just sort of being wrapped up in my little baby bubble or
Yeah.
what it was, but I did start to feel a little bit better for a few months, and then it all came sort of crashing back down again when she was 6 months old. I was when she was when I got the diagnosis.
So,
So
so what was different that time that you went to the doctor? Like, how come it was diagnosed then and not leading up to that?
So she'd been born in the January, and I'd been back to the doctor in the March, and they said, oh, now you're not pregnant, let's do a chest x-ray, let's have a look and see what's going on. So they did a chest x-ray, and they said, oh, you've got pneumonia. I said, right, okay, that explains why I feel so rough then. So they gave me a different kind of antibiotic, a strong one that I could take, which I couldn't take before when I was pregnant. And they said, we'll see you sort of in 6 weeks for a follow-up x-ray. Um, which never came. They never did the follow-up x-ray. I never got a letter or a phone call about it. And
Oh,
again, you're busy with a newborn, aren't you? And I kind of put it to the back of my mind until June when I started to feel really, really poorly again. So I went back and they said, oh, we didn't do that x-ray. Let's do it now. And that's when they saw that the mass that they'd seen and diagnosed as pneumonia had actually grown. And they were like, oh, that's not
wow.
pneumonia. So then I was put on the 2 week cancer referral pathway, and it was all systems go. Then it was a CT scan, I had a bronchoscopy, I had everything, and then diagnosed. And by that point, obviously, I'd been poorly for 16 months from
Wow.
first symptoms, and by that point, it had spread to the lymph nodes on both sides of my chest and to the pleura, so the lining around my chest as well. So it was stage 4 and incurable, which
So
just
is it classed incurable when it hits your lymph nodes? Or is it?
I don't know.
Oh,
It's just incurable when it's spread to places that are inoperable.
oh, I see.
That's the definition that I get. So it depends on where the
Right.
lymph nodes are. I mean, literally,
Ah, I'm
my
with you.
whole
Yeah.
mediastinum on both sides were completely full. I couldn't breathe at this point. It was a struggle to do anything. So
Was it
they put
quite a
me in.
big tumour that you had? Like,
So I had
does it
to.
restrict the airway? Was that, yeah.
So my lymph nodes did. The tumours in my lungs. So this is another reason my lung cancer is so hard to diagnose because generally, you don't get symptoms until it's really advanced because the tumours in your lungs can be there for years. And
Right.
so I had 2 tumours in my lung. One was 8 centimetres and one was 3 centimetres. But then by
Oh,
the time it spread to my chest, obviously your lymph nodes are very, very
yeah.
small. So when they start to get enlarged, it then restricted my breathing, and I found it really difficult to breathe. And that's when I was taken a bit more seriously. But again, I presented like I had the hoarse voice, I lost weight, I lost my appetite, I had a recurring chest infection, I had the cough, I had all the classic symptoms of lung cancer. But given my age and my smoking history, it was just not even considered by anybody. I mean, even me, I wasn't banging down that door saying, I think I've got lung cancer, because it didn't cross my mind either. I was
Didn't it?
completely naive to it. No, I mean,
Wow.
there was a point, so just after Freya was born, when I said to my husband, well, he was my boyfriend at the time, my husband, I said, I feel like it's going to be something really bad. And he was like, don't be silly, it's fine, the doctors know what they're doing, like everyone had said to me. Um, but I just had a horrible feeling that it was going to be awful when they did get to the bottom of it, which of course it was. Um, but on that note, I mean, I have one of the rare genetic lung cancers
Mm.
called ALK positive, which again, when you Google lung cancer, you can't find information on these sort of sub
Yeah.
lung cancers anywhere unless you know where to look,
Yeah.
um, which is terrifying, really.
It it
Um,
it is, because I guess that's because of underfunding in that area. Would you say? Like,
yeah, I
that's
think,
sad.
yeah, I think a lot of it is to do with sort of the cancers are still, they're quite new in terms of sort of lung cancer's been around forever, but these new mutations have only been identified in the last however many years. So there's still some GPs. I mean, every doctor I come across hasn't heard of my cancer in my local
Really? Oh God.
hospital. Yeah,
Uh, and does this mean that it's hereditary now because it's a genetic?
no.
No.
There's
Okay.
two kinds of genetics. One is genetic
Right.
and hereditary circle, and this one is genetic as in how the DNA, how the cells act. So ALK, the two cells fuse together,
Yeah.
and this is what causes it. So it's a genetic defect, basically.
Yeah.
It's something that is wrong with my cells that causes them to
Yeah.
fuse together. Um,
So how
it doesn't
long
happen to
have you
anyone.
now had? How long have you now had the diagnosis? How long have you
It
been?
was about just over 2 years. I was diagnosed in July 2019. Sorry if you
Right.
can hear my child screaming.
Right. And what? So what is day-to-day life like for you? Are you in and out of hospital? Are you on drugs at home, or is it a watch and scan scenario?
So, yeah, I'm on daily chemotherapy. I take chemotherapy tablets every day,
Yeah.
and I have done since I was diagnosed. That's the treatment for this particular cancer. I have my scans every 12 months. Every 12 months, I don't, I wish. I have scans every 12 weeks.
For
And
12 weeks. Is that an MR, a CT scan, or a?
a CT scan, yeah, I have a CT scan every 12 weeks.
Gosh.
My next one's coming up at the end of this month. So, just after my second daughter was born, which I'll talk about after,
Yeah.
I had a bit of progression. One of my lymph nodes decided to flare up. So I'm currently on a watch and wait with that to see whether we need to do any more advanced treatment, any
Yeah.
radiotherapy, or whether we need to do anything. So my next scan's on the 18th of this month, so that'll tell us more. So it's just a
Do you
bit.
feel a bit like you live from one scan to the next?
Oh, absolutely. I think anybody living with stage
Yeah.
4 cancer will tell you the exact
Yeah.
same.
I
We
can
live on
imagine.
that.
Yeah.
Mm.
That must be really hard to.
It's tough as well because I mean you say you think you've got 3 months between scans, but actually sort of you have your scan and then you've got the wait for your results, which can be anywhere from sort of 4 days to 4 weeks in some cases, which is horrendous. And then you get your outcome. If it's good news, you get a bit of reprieve and you feel great, and you may get sort of 4 or 6 weeks, and then that letter comes again for your next scan, and that's when your scan anxiety starts.
Yeah.
The minute you get that letter and you know it's coming, so actually out of that 3 month window, you may only have 6 weeks where life feels
Mm,
normal. And
yeah.
if you're having treatment in hospital, or if you're having to get your bloods done, it's
Yeah.
just it's a never
Uh,
ending cycle. But
and Joe, do you live in? Is it painful? Like, do you suffer physically, like in between?
yeah, you can. Yeah, sometimes it's there's good days and bad days. So
Mm.
I mean, my chemotherapy has some really wicked side effects, neuropathy being one of them, which is really
Oh no.
debilitating. I have neuropathy attacks in the middle of the night, and it causes like severe cramping in my legs.
Oh,
And when that happens, it's just horrendous, and I'm literally sort of glugging morphine and willing it to go away. But then the next
oh,
day, I can't. I struggle to walk because your muscles are so
Yeah.
I mean, there's fatigue. There's some days I feel like I can run a marathon, and other days, if I get off the couch to make tea, I'm with a lucky man. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
it's just one day to the next.
And also amongst all this, you're, you know, first and foremost, you're a mum, right? So you had your first daughter, and then you were diagnosed. So she must be
Hmm.
2 now, is she?
Yeah, she's 2.5. She'll be 3 in
Yes.
January.
Right. Oh, bless. What's her name?
Freya.
Freya. Oh, lovely. And
Yeah.
then you wanted Freya to have a little brother or sister.
Well, when I was we always planned on having more than one child, and then when I was diagnosed, we were told like more children wouldn't be an option, and I never questioned it. You know, I had stage 4 lung cancer. You know, having another child was just not on my list, my radar at all. And then last October, the end of last October, I started to get really sick, really sore boobs, was an absolute bitch to live with. And Daniel was
Oh
like,
no.
something's not right here. And he said, do you think you're pregnant? I said, don't be stupid. I had the coil in. So, you know, we were taking
No.
precautions. I felt pregnant with both my children on contraception. The first time I had the implant in, and the second time I had the coil.
Oh my
So, yeah.
God.
Um, and so we did a pregnancy test and it was positive. And I'd love to say that it was a really lovely moment, but it wasn't. It was absolutely terrifying. We were scared stupid. I was thinking, there's just no way. I mean, I doubted the baby would even be viable with the amount of medication I had to take. You know,
Yeah.
if it was viable, my doctor would certainly say, no, this is not a good idea. You know, I was fully prepared to have to go in and sort of make some really, really tough decisions. Um, and then I started doing a bit of research and I joined a worldwide ALK support group. And I just typed in the top bar pregnancy just to see if anything came up. And all these women popped up who'd had children while on
No
treatment with
way.
my particular cancer. Yeah. In America, there's been about, I think, 20 babies in the last 3 years born.
No way. Because am
Two
I
women.
right in thinking that you are the first person in the UK?
So I've been
So I
told,
read an
yeah.
article that said you're the first person
Yeah.
in the UK to conceive and actually give birth with a, you know, advanced
With stage 4 cancer, yeah.
stage 4 cancer. Yeah.
Yeah, which is
So
crazy. But yeah, I mean, my oncologist was amazing. She said, you know, you're a stage 4 lung cancer side, you're really healthy. Your scans have been really good. You've been stable on treatment for the best part of 18 months now. So yeah, if you want to do it, let's do it. And I was like, well, absolutely. We had lots of extra scans to make sure baby was developing properly, and she was
yeah.
absolutely perfect the whole way through. Um, and yeah, she was born 15th of June. So yeah, she's just nearly 5 months old.
Oh my
It's just
goodness,
been
that's amazing. And were you able to
amazing.
have a natural birth?
No, I had to have a
No.
C-section.
Yeah.
Really because I got to 37 weeks. I mean, to be fair, they were, my obstetrician wasn't expecting me to get past sort of 30 weeks. So if we deliver at 30 weeks, you know, we'll do everything we can.
Yeah.
We've been in great hands, so I was monitored really closely,
Yeah.
but we got to 37 and she was just like, right, fine, baby's coming out now. So the longer baby was in, the more pressure on my lungs, and we don't
Right.
want to risk another infection, which can happen when obviously your lungs are restricted. You increase the risk of infection,
Yeah.
and I suffer badly with pneumonia and those types of infections anyway. So we got to 37 and 3 she was when she was born, and
Oh,
infection. So
how heavy was she?
she was 7'4", so
That's
she was a great weight. Yeah,
she would have been a whopper.
she'd have been a monster, wouldn't she? She'd have gone full
Do you know
term.
what? My first baby was born at 37 weeks. He was 5'10". So yeah, yours would have been
Wow.
flipping heck.
Yeah, she
You'd
was
be
a big girl.
huge.
I mean, Freya was born at my older daughter. She was born at she came a day before her due date, and she was 7'7". So yeah, Dylan would. I think your seconds are bigger, don't they? But she
Yeah,
would have been
yeah,
about
yeah.
£10, I think, if she'd have stayed put
Yeah.
in that time.
And how do you cope with being, you know, with all your side effects of being on the medication and your scans and everything whilst looking after two? I mean, you are in the thick of it as a mum right now with the ages that they are.
Yeah, I mean, we have a fantastic support network. I mean, Daniel, my
Yeah.
husband, is amazing. I literally couldn't do life without him. It's our first wedding anniversary on Thursday. We got married a year ago on Thursday.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, so he's fantastic. His family live in the same town as us, so they're really close by. They're a great support network, and my family too. They don't live local to us, but they're always on the end of the phone if I need them. And
Yeah,
yeah, I
that's
run to the
amazing.
Christie now as well in Manchester. So the team I've got there, are just because it's a cancer specialist hospital, they're just amazing. They're so good, and I feel like
I
I'm
hear
really
such good
supported.
things about the Christie.
Yeah,
Just,
it's
yeah,
so
everybody
good.
whispers about it. And what about COVID? Have you managed to avoid catching it?
Yeah, we haven't. I haven't been poorly at all. None of us have.
That's amazing. Touch wood.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Does Freya go to nursery or anything?
She does. Yeah, she started in April, so we debated whether to push it back a little bit, but
Yeah,
she, being the age she is, she literally missed out on all interactions. We couldn't go to baby group, we couldn't go to
yeah.
fun group, she couldn't do anything. So we wanted to send her to nursery. So I was worried about that. I mean, she's poorly every week. When kids start school and nursery, every week she's
Yeah,
got a runny
they
nose or
get
she's got a cough.
yeah.
She's
So
just been
what
on
do you
antibiotics
do
for
in that
fun.
situation then? Do you just have to be like super careful that you don't, because you must be, is your immune system compromised?
So not overly.
Oh, okay.
Medication, yeah, it's not like sort of standard chemo or curative chemo where it's really aggressive. So it doesn't lower your immune system that much. There's
Okay.
obviously there is a bit of that. And obviously having lung damage as well, I'm susceptible to lung infections. Every year
Yeah.
since diagnosis, I've ended up in hospital on oxygen at some point through having pneumonia.
Mm.
But no, I can't really avoid it. I mean, I wouldn't. If Daniel's really good. When I'm poorly, he's like, go take yourself to bed and just, go and
Yeah.
relax and get yourself better.
Yeah.
So he does mum and dad role for us in that
Well,
situation. But
can I ask a, I hope this isn't too personal, but how do you cope financially when you are, because presumably you can't go to work,
mm.
and what happens in that situation?
So PIP, which is the
PIP. Yes, sorry, I do know about
yeah.
PIP.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I mean, there was a lady the other day, bless her, I won't name her, but she approached me on Instagram and she said, would you mind please sharing this link? She was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer not too long ago, had to give up work, she's done really poorly. And so her husband and herself like, had to start a GoFundMe. They were looking like anything, any kind of money to help them because they were literally on their knees. And I said to her, like, of course I'll share it, but what about PIP? Have you applied for that? What about sort of any of the government benefits if you're entitled to them? And she hadn't even heard of it. Her Macmillan nurse
no,
hadn't told her any of it. So I told her what to do. I told her what forms to get, and she was just like, "Oh my goodness, this is a game changer." I
yeah,
was really lucky. My Macmillan nurse sorted everything out for me. She
yeah.
literally filled the forms
Gosh,
and sent the
I
forms off me.
just, it's just, it must be financially a scary time because you've got mouths to feed, and
Yeah,
it. Yeah, I just think that it should be more more advertised that you can apply for these things. You were lucky your Macmillan
yeah,
nurse,
yeah. I was
gave you that
really lucky.
advice.
And a lot of people, I mean, the PIP payments, especially, they're kind of, there's two parts to it. One is a mobility part of it, and people say, oh, well, I don't really think I qualify for that because, I can move around. I'm like, but you have to answer questions on your worst day. It's great if you've
Yeah,
got days where you can do stuff and, let's get
yeah,
out on the memories. But on the
yeah,
days when you can't, that's when you need that extra support.
yeah.
Um, so yeah,
And
if
things
you
like
approach it,
and applying for a blue badge and all that sort of thing.
yeah.
There's stuff that you can do, isn't there? It's just knowing where to access all that, all that
Yeah.
information. What Are you doing anything? I know you do stuff all the time to try and help raise awareness about lung cancer, but are you doing anything specifically this month that you could tell us about?
So I am doing so last year, so I work really closely with Roy Castle. They are the UK's leading lung cancer
Yeah.
charity. They're the only specific one for lung cancer. Last year, before I found out I was pregnant, I committed to a virtual Land's End to John O'Groats bike ride, 603 miles on my
How many
virtual bike
miles?
home. 603. So through November last year, I cycled 603 miles with a sick bucket next to me because I had horrendous morning sickness and nobody knew I was pregnant. So I had to keep faith and do it. And we raised just over £4,000, which was
Oh, that's
amazing.
brilliant.
Yeah, so this year I thought, right, well, we're going to have to go bigger. I'm going to have to go bigger and better. So as well as doing a north to south ride, I've added an east to west as well. So we're doing 900 miles this month for Roy
Oh
Castle.
my God.
Um,
How do we sponsor you?
there's a link in my bio on my Instagram page, or there's a link in my bio for that. All donations go to Roy Castle, and literally they're amazing. They are the best charity.
Oh,
The
bless.
women that work there are just so supportive. They're sort of really high on my support network. Um,
No.
from sort of checking in to make sure you're okay. Just, they're friends on my Facebook as well, like the women that they're
Oh, that's
Facebook
so
friends, and
nice.
they're forever commenting on pictures. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
just they do so much work, and they fund so much research as well. And that's the thing that we really need to focus on. It's that research and it's that early detection, because we need to let people know the signs and symptoms and what they can do in order to be diagnosed sooner, so that they've got a chance of not being diagnosed at stage 4.
Yeah.
And Roy
And,
Castle worked
and give
really
us a
hard to do that.
recap of what are those signs and symptoms? What are the most common?
The common ones, so weight loss, loss of appetite, a hoarse voice, a cough that doesn't go away. So if you've had a cough longer than 3 weeks, they say to go and get it checked out. Recurrent chest infections, if you have more than 2 chest infections kind of on the bounce, go and get it checked out. There's some ones that are a little bit less sort of known, as like clubbed fingers, which not a lot of people know about, but I mean, I know a
What's
guy that
that?
was. So it's where the end of your finger becomes bulbous, and it's called clubbed
Oh my,
fingers.
I
Yeah,
never knew that.
yeah. There was a gentleman who was diagnosed, and that was his only symptom.
My
Um,
gosh.
there can be all kinds of shoulder pain if you have a pain in your shoulder, because that's all connected to your lungs, back
Yeah.
pain. There's so many things. I mean, we don't want people to panic, especially at the moment with COVID sort of overtaking everything and people are having
I
that
think
cough.
you're absolutely right. We never, ever, ever want anybody to panic. It's just being informed, so you know that if there is
Mm.
something that's going on, that you do go and get somebody to. Because thank goodness you were so persistent. Like how
Yeah.
had you not been? I mean, had you not been as persistent, things would have progressed much further before you got your diagnosis.
Yeah, and as well, like my family all know me. Like I'm not a sick person. I was never poorly before this. I used to get an ear infection every year at Christmas, without fail. Every year at Christmas, I'd have an ear infection, and that's been that way since I was a child. But that was literally it. That was the only time I ever went to the doctors, and I knew it was
Yeah,
coming, and for whatever crazy reason. So when I did start to feel poorly, I knew there was something wrong. I mean, we shouldn't have to advocate for ourselves. We know that. We go in an ideal world, we walk into our GP surgery and they say, yes, it sounds like
yeah,
this. Let's go with the tests and rule it out. But funding, time, knowledge all need a lot of work at all levels. The
yeah.
NHS do amazing work, and we know
I
that
do.
they're phenomenal, and they've coped so well. They've coped so well this last 18 months with everything. But we need to sort of bring that focus now back to cancers and all cancers.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel so incredible. It's like this month, last month, Cancer Awareness Month was quite quiet. But this month, we're only on day 2, and there's already so much more awareness. And there was some fantastic voices during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Mary Huckle was one of them, and Met at UK. They were focusing on what they called the darker shade of pink, sort of the secondary cancers.
yeah.
Um, And I feel like lung cancer is very much a darker side of cancer as well. So it's
Yeah.
actually all that campaigning through October has sort of opened the pathway for other cancers now to
Yeah.
be
And
talked about a bit more
there's
openly.
something, yeah, absolutely. I think there's something really powerful about you women coming together. Like Mary Huckle's fantastic at what
I
she
love her.
does.
I love her.
Yeah, she is. She really is. And the work that she does, and the message she continually spreads about, you know, secondary cancer
Mhm.
and living with it, and how she, you know, does that, like Bowel Babe as well. How do they do
Yeah.
that whilst trying to keep on top of the medication and everything else they've got going? It's just brilliant. And obviously you do the same as well. And actually, Royal Castle Lung Cancer, just saying there, thank you so much for raising vital awareness. If it
Oh.
wasn't for people like you, we wouldn't really know,
Mm.
you know.
And it's I'm not alone. There are so many more sort of women, men and women, under 50, never smokers who have been
Yeah,
diagnosed with cancer. And
yeah,
I think the sad thing is a lot of them don't speak out because of the fear of being treated like they've caused their own cancer. You know, I had one lady say to me, "Oh, I didn't dare say anything because people just assumed that I smoked, and I didn't want to have to keep defending myself." And you know,
yeah.
that's
I
a
get
really sad
that.
way to look at it.
Yeah,
You know, and if you know, I get questions about things. People ask me questions all the time, and I feel like I can look at it as defending myself in one way, but it's sharing knowledge, it's educating people, and it's trying to make a difference because, you know, whilst I was diagnosed too late to be cured, let's look at the bigger picture, and that's the
yeah,
future. You know, I look at my children's generation, and I want them to know the signs and symptoms. I want them to advocate
absolutely.
for themselves. And, you know,
Yeah,
cancer's not
definitely.
going anywhere, unfortunately. It's going to be
Yeah,
around forever. So all we can do is educate people and hope that we make a difference while we're here.
yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. I'll leave
Oh,
you to
thank
get
you.
back to your two gorgeous little girls and get them off to bed.
Yes,
And yeah,
definitely.
keep in touch, and let's just keep talking, and um, just, yeah, if there's ever anything I can do to help you raise awareness, just shout. Oh, there's
Thank you
Mary
so
there.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so if anybody wants to reach out to a charity, it's the Royal Castle Lung
yeah, Long
Foundation.
Foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're the leading one for lung cancer in the UK. So yeah, we're desperately
Yeah.
I'm hoping to beat my 4 grand target last year. I'm aiming for 5 grand this year. So if anyone's got any spare change, please pop it in the
Yes, so
donation as well.
I will tag you in so people can go to your profile page and they can, or send me the link and I can do a swipe up
Mhm.
to it. Lovely. Enjoy your evening. Thanks everybody so
Thank
much
you
for
so
joining
much,
us.
Alan.
Yeah,
Thank
take
you for
care
having
and
me.
speak to you again.
Take
All right,
care.
all the best. All
Thank
right.
you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye everyone.